friends, Miss Seashell here.
And Mystery.
We're back for another adventure with FOOVentures. What are we looking at today, Mr. E?
Today we're at the Bobcat exhibit, and we might get a little new view of the Bobcat exhibit. It's recently remodeled, at least the platform. And we've got, looks like that's Teal up there with the box of enrichment that we've given them. And then it looks like Odie's gonna maybe jump up too and join her up there, and they're gonna look at that box. All cats love boxes, right? So we're gonna talk a little bit today about what enrichment is and why we do it for the animals, but also any of your questions that you might have about bobcats and how we have bobcats here in Georgia all over the place. They might live in your backyard, you never know, because they're masters of camouflage. So one of our really cool small predators that lives here in Georgia.
One of our most common cats in the cat family in the United States, North America actually. I think they estimate that there's about 750 to 1 million bobcats in our country.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of calls. People see them. They think that our panther or cougar is out. We get calls. It's not. It's usually a bobcat. About twice the size of a domestic cat, but very, very similar in many of the behavior, right, Mystery?
Yep. And so so much interaction with the world, with all of its senses that you think of when you think of a cat. Those ears that are perked up all the time, those whiskers, and then also that really strong sense of smell from their nose. He just got a whiff of something that wasn't too great and did a little bit of a sneeze. So they're they're not tearing, but they're gonna pull into that box. They've got some enrichment items in there for them, so scent based but also texture based.
He's scenting it.
Yeah, so they will scent it as well, so that's really interesting how they mark their territory. He's claiming it, actually she's claiming it as hers, so that's really interesting. But we got lots of different textures in there, and then also we did some physical enrichment by putting it up higher. So we basically forcing them or enticing them to come up higher and get a little bit of exercise, do a little bit of jumping. You saw that going on. So obviously it was marked, and so that allowed them to kind of get in the habit of knowing that's there, that's an item that's theirs, and now they might investigate a little bit more. So looks like we're gonna have some paws moving in. They might push it off the platform, but we've got fur in there of different types. We've got scents. We've got holes in the sides of the box so they can reach in, and then the big prize inside is there's 2 goose eggs inside, one apiece. And I don't know if they'll get to those right now because it takes them a while sometimes, but we'll see. We'll see. Bella, Kara, Maisie, Logan, all of our all-time favorite viewers that are always watching us. We're so happy that you guys are tuning in.
All right, so let's talk about the characteristics of a bobcat and why you would know that it was a bobcat. Maybe if you got a camera shot of it, like what do they call those nighttime cameras?
Yeah, game cams. A lot of times they show up on.
Let's talk about how would you know that you were looking at a bobcat and not somebody's big cat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So first of all, look at their face. What's different about a bobcat's face? Lynx rufus is their scientific name. What's different about their face? Does anybody know out there? Could you see it from the platform? You see what their face, they have a special characteristic about their fur on their face. And this little guy's really loving it.
Loving that scent.
So if you look at the bottom of their face, to the right and left of their chin, you'll see what's called a ruff. It's like an extra amount of hair that comes down off their face. And that's a very good diagnostic sign of a bobcat, is the ruff on their face. He's roughing up his ruff right now.
Yeah, they have those scent glands on the side of their face. They're rubbing in those. That's why a cat will come up and mark you as their territory. A house cat, they'll rub their face on you. That means that you're theirs and that they're yours, so to speak. It's also really interesting diagnostically, their tail. So you kind of turned around, gave us a view of the backside. So a bobcat has a bobtail, right? And a bobtail means it's short and it does wiggle and wave around, but it's very, very much like almost a third of the length of a house cat's tail in comparison to its body. So.
All right, we want to say some hellos to Melissa in Richmond Hill. Thanks for joining us. Allie and Abby in Pembroke, thank you so much for joining too. Georgia, are bobcats born with a short tail?
Yeah,
they are.
They are born with a short tail, and they're born looking not exactly like the adults, but pretty close. Their coloration is a little bit different. and they do sometimes get mistaken for small cats. We've
There
heard.
it goes.
Oh, he pushed it off. Or she pushed it off. No, that's he. That's Odin up there. So there's some fur up there still that he'll get to rub in. But yeah, so they're sometimes mistaken for kittens because they are about the size of a 2-3 week old kitten when they're born. So sometimes they do get mistaken, but you'll know right away because the bobcat will have that bob tail. So unless it's a Manx or something like that, you'll know if it's a bobcat kitten because it has that bob tail.
So if you ever seen a photograph maybe of a kitten cougar and a kitten bobcat, they really look a lot alike. There is that one diagnostic feature that you can tell immediately from a kitten of a cougar or a kitten of a bobcat, and it is the tail. The cougar has a longer tail, obviously. Hi, Charlotte. Hi, Hannah.
And hi, Mom and Dad.
Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Swanson. Thanks for joining us. So we have Illinois in the house. We're going to have a competition to see who is the farthest away watching us live streaming here.
Yeah, we had a North Carolina earlier.
Ooh, Audrey, excellent question. Does the white on the ears and tail help with the camouflage? Well, so the white on the tail, on the ears, is more of a, not so much camouflage, but of a communication.
Yeah.
So there's several theories about why they have the white spots on the back of their ears. My favorite are eye spots.
Yeah.
That's my favorite theory. Because cats will lurk and they'll pounce, they'll get down low and they'll crawl. And usually it's like they're waiting for the right opportunity to pounce on their prey. If they see the eyes of the prey, that's going to be a little bit more work to get the animal because the animal sees them. But if they turn and run, game is on. So think about that. If you have white spots in the back of your head and you're leaving, going away from the predator, they still think you're looking at them.
Yeah.
So that's a good theory. Another is to, when they're in the forest, they're camouflaged, right, Mister? You can hardly see them.
Yeah.
Even in
their exhibit, you can walk within 6-8 inches of them and not see them unless you're really looking.
You want to come up here and get down on them. Maybe you can see that they're in the forest a little bit more, and they just become shadows.
They're very, very amazing. They have that counter shading, the white on the belly, because they are arboreal, helps them blend in if something's looking up from the sky. That patchy coat is different for every individual. Some people ask how we tell them apart. It's mainly by their coat and their shading, but also size. Teal is a little bit smaller than the boys. We have Bo, Odin, and Teal, 2 boys, 1 girl. And really, really interesting what I think, and what Michelle said, if you've got a medium-sized animal, a medium-sized cat, or small cat, it can be preyed on by a lot of things. So if it's going to be running away, it can always have those eye spots behind them to maybe think, oh, take a step back. Wait a second, maybe that animal is going to face me and fight me rather than run away. So really cool adaptation, those 2 little white spots in the back of their ears.
And I've also heard that the white spots are a way that the kittens can find their mom.
Yeah.
Because they're running through the forest maybe, and they're following her wherever she goes. And when she is so camouflaged, those spots help them find where she is. We have some hellos from Stella. Hi, Stella in Pembroke, and Heather from Georgetown, and Derek Stewart. Hello. And we have some great questions coming in. Timothy, what is their favorite thing to eat?
Yeah.
Oh, a wild bobcat has a very wide variety of diet. So small mammals, but I've actually even read that a bobcat can take an animal like a deer.
Yeah.
So they can take an animal like up to 10 times their size. That's pretty phenomenal. But mostly they're going to eat rabbits and mice and rodents and
amphibians, small reptiles,
snakes. These guys are really good snakers.
Yeah, I think probably if from our bobcats, anything that's really fat rich they like a lot. So eggs and things like that. Anything that's going to have a high fat content in it is good for them. They also like really iron rich organs, if you know what I mean. So they like to eat those as well. But yeah, they're really, really interested in any food item that we give to them. I don't know if they have a particular favorite.
Yes, so good questions. Finnegan wants to know, do they live in packs? So cats and dogs are very different, mostly because of their, there's a bald eagle flying over right now. Sorry, I have to point that out. You guys can't see it, but super cool. So cats and dogs are physiologically, morphologically different, and a lot of that has to do with how they live too. That dictates how they live. So cats are, we call it fast twitch muscle. So they're like sprinters. They also have retractable claws. So when they walk across your kitchen floor, your cat doesn't make a sound. Where your dog walks across the kitchen floor, you hear the tippity tap, tippity tap. So, and dogs have long, lean muscles. They're really good at long distance running, at endurance running. So cats like to be alone because they can hunt down an animal by themselves. They have the retractable claws. Can't grab Mystery, but I would if I could. And I hold him with my claws. And if I hold my claws, how do I kill him? Right? Whereas a dog, what are they going to grab their animal prey with? Teeth. Now if I grab an animal by its leg, can I kill it by its leg? No, I'm going to grab it, I'm going to jump on its neck, I'm going to have my pack help me. So they have to have a pack help them hunt. Whereas cats, they don't need a pack. They don't like to be in packs. In fact, the mom is the only one that's going to be with another bobcat probably for the first year of their life, and then she'll kick them out too. So they're solitary animals. So if people worry about our cougar being alone, no, that's for our own benefit, because he would fight with another cat. Lucy, hi Lucy. Lucy comes here a lot. Lucy says she hears a meowing. What other vocalizations? Mystery, can you do some impressions?
They do meows, but with a B on the end, so they go bow bow, bow bow. Or they do like meows that are kind of high pitched, like meow meow, meow 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 meow. They also do like little purrs, like a low rumbly purr, and that is usually a sign of like they're happy to see someone, and they'll rub against the fence if they get some visitors that they really like or they know or they recognize, because they probably recognize your smell or your voice. They also do really interesting vocalizations that sound like bird chirps sometimes, and these are typically when they're talking to each other. So you might have Bo, who's in the backup right now, chirping at Odie when Odie gets a little close, because they have a little bit of a sibling rivalry. They're brothers.
We got a lot of questions coming in. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on FOOVentures today. Elliot wants to know, do they climb trees?
Yeah. These guys are pretty lazy as far as bobcats go, but a lot of times you don't see bobcats because when they're not hunting and they're lazying about like most cats do, 18 to 20 hours a day they're sleeping, they're going to be up in a tree just hanging their front legs over a branch, back legs over a branch, just sitting in that tree getting some sun, digesting their food, relaxing. They don't work really hard if they don't have to. So they do climb trees, and it's a great place for them to ambush prey, but also just to take a nap.
Well, and you notice we have flashing on our exhibit because that could be an easy way out. Because they are, like Mr. E said, arboreal. Arbor Day is coming up. Is it already come? Arbor Day. You guys know what Arbor Day is? Arboreal, that's the word.
Is it the 17th?
Jeremy, how big are the babies when they're born? And then how big are they when they're full-sized?
Yeah. So when they're born, they're no bigger than a loaf of bread.
I would say like a guinea pig, maybe.
Yeah, like they're newborns. Yeah,
guinea pig size. Oh, Claire says hi, Uncle E.
Hi, Ava.
Cute. Okay, so wait, I have something to tell you about that.
Okay.
And so we don't really, I can't tell you the inches or whatever. We're kind of giving you a comparison.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like an object to compare to.
But did you guys know that our bobcats are famous?
Oh yeah.
When they were born in South Carolina. The mom had built a den or a birthing area inside an old abandoned barn, and they started to tear the barn down. And when they tore the barn down, they found 3 kittens with the umbilical cords on and everything. And they were super worried about them because they still had their umbilical cords, meaning they were probably just born, and they wanted to try to give them back to the kittens back to their mom, and it wasn't successful. So they found a shelter, a cat homeless shelter, rescue shelter, with a pregnant nursing cat, house cat, that nursed them, and it made the national news.
They're super cool.
They were on the national news, and so we received them in about a year after they were old enough to come. We didn't nurse them, but their birthday was on April 25th, 2010. So how old are they?
Almost Arbor Day.
Okay.
Arbor Day's 4/24 this year in a week.
Okay. We have some very important dates coming up. So April 25th, gotta say happy birthday to our cats for us.
Yeah.
Okay. And then on April 26th, do you know the other animal's birthday at Oatland Island? We have
Ooh.
4 other famous animals that were on local news a lot. They are born on April 26th. How would you like to come see them?
That was really bad.
That's really bad. It's the wolves. So we have Wolf's birthday on the Sunday the 26th, and Saturday, which would have been Fairy and Gnome Festival.
Sad face.
Okay, I'm over. All right, we got so many great questions.
Say hi to Eden.
Dawn's gonna see if she can find the news story and post it too.
Say hi to Eden.
Eden!
There
Is
you
it
go.
Eden Keener?
Yeah.
Hi, Eden Keener in Arbor Day. Yeah, gotcha. Eden, are you there watching us with the little kidders? Are they there with you? Say hi. You do.
Annabelle asked, do they swim like tigers? And what's really interesting is,
Good question.
while water is a thing that they might be around, they don't like to necessarily go in it. Tigers will seek out water. They like water. They like to swim. Other animals like water, like cougars. Whereas a bobcat doesn't really want to play in the water too much. They might go to the edge and find food if they really, really need some food.
Guess what they do in the water?
Oh, yeah, this is actually good to learn.
They go to the bathroom
Yeah.
in the water.
So if you
Why
want
would you do that?
If you want to maybe think about why that would be a good adaptation for them, so they weren't, being as visible, but not with the.
Sensible.
Oh, sensible. There you go. It's not sensible to pee in water.
Don't do it at home.
I mean, yeah.
But it helps them move their scent out of the area,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I'm sorry, you go back to your water story.
So
I'm gonna
yeah,
interrupt you.
so that they don't really seek out water. They're not big swimmers, but there is an amazing story about a bobcat that has all to do with water. And Miss Seashell might remember the name of that book off the top of her head that has it in them about how they got their bobtail. Do you remember it?
No.
Because their tail got frozen in the ice.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so there's an old folk tale,
Native
or
American.
might have been a Native American tale about how bobcats got their bobtail, and it has to do with their tail getting frozen in ice, and because they were very vain, they loved their tail and how beautiful it was. So it's a very good story. We'll put a link in so that you can check that out if we can find a good
I've heard
a
the
good
story
resource.
about how they got their spots.
Oh, really?
And that was also a Native American tale about the trickster, and they started a fire in the forest, and it singed their coat, and it made spots on their coat.
Sooty
So,
spots.
so yeah, remember, they're spotted. Kittens are spotted as young, and then they lose their spots. So, how fast can they run, Abby? We've got a lot of questions I haven't passed. Let me go back to Leah. We'll come back to Abby. Do you know how fast they run? Real quick?
Faster than you can run. So you're not going to see them a lot.
Jackson!
Nice to hear from you. Sorry I didn't see you yesterday. Apologize for that.
Leah wants to know, what do they do in the wild? Well, I'll tell you, first thing that they do in the wild is sleep a lot, just like they do here. But they're crepuscular. Word of the day.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Crepuscular.
Say it with me.
Crepuscular.
I say
Crepuscular.
crepuscular.
Spell it.
C-R-E.
C.
C-R-E-P-U-S-C-U-L-A-R. I think I said that right. Crepuscular. So that means dawn and dusk is when they're most active out hunting, and then they'll sleep a lot of the time through the day, hiding in their tree, like Mr. E said, or in the understory. We got Cat back at the box again.
Yeah, they're rubbing on that box again.
Crepuscular, but they'll still move around in the day too. So don't be freaked out and they're like, oh my God, it's a rabid bobcat because he's out in the middle of the day. Oh no, they'll do it. They'll go out hunting, looking for any time that they can. So what do they do in the wild? They hunt.
Yeah, they're like a mid-range predator, kind of on the trophic levels of things. They can be eaten by other predators. They might even, every once in a while, grab up some prey that's larger than them, but they're in that mid-range. They're not doing a lot of population control for our large mammals, but definitely for our small mammals and our snakes, they're doing population control. So if we remove them from the habitat, a lot of times you'll see an abundance of small mammals in that area, and also snakes and lizards. So they're important.
And then Maisie, we are going to get your question.
Yeah.
Does Odin and Teal ever catch, and Bo, catch wild animals in their enclosure?
Yes.
We actually have a snake in our exhibit. You might know of our king snake, King Henry. He's in the wolf cabin. He was a bobcat find. They found him and put some holes in him because they weren't eating him, but they were playing with him, and we gave him some antibiotics, helped him out, and we kept him in the collection. So yeah, they definitely do. They catch things. They have wild instincts. You know, they're habituated.
Yeah.
But they are definitely wild, and we don't go in with them just because, you know, they are powerful little creatures.
And we do apologize, guys. We know we're right on the marsh edge, and the wind just picked up. So if you're getting a lot of marsh noise, we do apologize for that. The wind did just pick up on that, but that's just nature.
Joey, do they have toys?
They do have toys, and their toys are often in the form of things that they can tear into, that if they consumed wouldn't hurt them. So a lot of cardboard-based things, a lot of toys that are indestructible, like hard plastic, and then they also do play with these scent bags that we put in and boxes. So they do have a lot of toys in that way, but they're not going to go and carry around a toy, so to speak. They're more like batting it around, trying to get the treats out of it, and then they're going to leave it alone after that. They're not like a dog. They're kind of like a house cat in that way. They like to chase things that move, chase things that have good scent, or maybe look like a prey item.
What's a special treat food? Why is it they like to eat?
Ooh.
Eggs.
Eggs, yeah.
So you said eggs.
Eggs are good. I think a lot of times we'll give them fish too, like a whole prey item like a fish. Would be really interesting, has a lot of good smells in it. Also is good because they consume it whole, so they eat all that bone and cartilage and things like that. That's going to be really nice for them to get all those nutrients that way too.
All right, these are really great questions, you guys. Catherine wants to know, how long can they live?
Yeah.
So, you know, captivity, there's always longevity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's veterinary care. So I've heard of a 30-year-old bobcat in captivity.
Yeah.
30-something, 32 maybe.
Yeah.
But that's really old.
Yeah. I would say even mid-20s is really old for a bobcat.
Like wild, maybe 10?
Yeah. Yeah, 10 to 12 years I would think would be kind of the prime of their life, is when they're in their early 8 to 10 years, and then they're going to kind of drop off and not be a breeding individual. And as long as that's not happening, then a lot of times they'll die off or get pushed off to the edges of territory. So they always have to deal with other bobcats kind of taking over their territory if they're not the young, spry individual they were anymore.
Eaton wants to know, what kind of enrichment do you use with them?
Yeah, so they get tons of different kinds of enrichment.
Yeah.
A lot of it is, like we said, texture-based, so different textures that they can tear into and get into. They really enjoy perfumes of all different kinds, but especially floral scent they really like.
Ooh.
They like to spray on floral scents or fruit scents.
Do you think both of them do, or just Teal?
I mean, I think all of them do, but maybe Teal likes it more.
Teal's our girl.
She's a lady. But it's really interesting too what they kind of think of as a smell that they want to cover up, or a smell that they want to kind of tear into. So we have fish oil and fish oil pills. You can kind of open up and spray the oil around. They go crazy for that, and they'll rub on that all day long. But if you put a piece of, let's say, maybe from our goat, when we do our goat shearing, put a piece of fur in there, covered in some floral scent, they might take that and remove it from the box and move it away. Maybe they don't want it near the box, or maybe they want to save it for later. So they're very interesting. A lot of times their favorite thing to do is just to roll in anything that smells interesting and get that smell all over them.
So, Mr. E, will you talk to our friends out here about what does it mean when a cat is going like this?
Oh, yeah. So you might have seen this face that some cats make. Even house cats do this. Shanti does it. Definitely our bobcats do it. It's basically, it's called a Fleming response, or Fleming response. That is an ability for them to use their mouth and their olfactory sense, so both their sense of taste and smell at the same time, to get a better idea of that smell. everyone that I talked to, or when I was growing up, we would call this the bad face in cats, because it's like they smelled something and it was like, smell bad, so they like opened up their mouth and gave this weird grimace. But really what they're doing is they're pulling back their nose and they're opening their nostrils up and they're opening their mouth up because it might be a smell that they enjoy. So it's really interesting. Shanti likes to do it a lot when we put enrichment in, so he's really easy to see him do it because he's got such a big mouth and such a big nose. These guys will do it and it'll just kind of look like their mouth is kind of gaped open a little bit, and they'll pull those nostrils back a little bit, but it's really more about getting smell in. Once they get that smell in their brain and they figured it out, they can find that smell for up to, you know, a few weeks after it's disappeared, after the smell is like almost completely dissipated. They can smell it. They have very, very good olfactory sense. 40 times better than a human is what some scientists say.
I have a question for them,
Yeah.
and you can talk about it too. Okay, so I want to ask you, do you guys think cats or dogs have better sense of smell?
Ooh, this is a good question.
Olfactory. We've talked about olfactory with wolves, now we're talking about with bobcats. So who has a better who has better olfactory? Oh, good question.
There is catnip in the box, yeah. And
Lee, do they like catnip?
They love catnip. They love all those herbs that have that good scent. So lavender, sage, those sort of things. They love anything that's got that good oil in it.
You guys answer us, okay? If you can, if you think you know.
I
taking a poll.
think we're gonna add another vocab word, morphology.
Well, yeah, we said morphology, corpuscular, big words today.
So morphology is really interesting. So if you think about morphology, the shape of an animal's body, the morphology of a cat as opposed to a dog can tell you a lot about their sense of smell. So morphology is something.
So who has a better nose for smelling? You guys want to give us your answer? Type it in. Interact with us. That's what's the best thing about FOOVentures, is we interact with you. And we have some really busy scribes here writing away, so we can be with you and they do the hard work. Cats. Trisha and Abigail want to say cats. Okay, anybody else want to guess?
Amelia, in the meantime, asked, do they recognize the keepers when they come by?
We're taking a poll right now.
They do recognize keepers, for sure. They recognize past keepers that they knew when they were younger if they come back and visit. They even recognize vehicle sounds, different vehicle sounds, and know which vehicle is which. They don't necessarily like the trucks when they come near their exhibit because that means someone's going to be coming and making a lot of noise. They do like when the gator comes and the golf cart comes because those things bring food to them. So, man, it's like neck and neck for dogs and cats.
All right, dogs are pulling up to the cats. Okay, so we're just letting you guys keep going here.
This is great.
This is awesome.
I'm like total data nerd though, so I think it's funny.
Don't vote on which ones you like the best.
Yeah, vote on which one you think.
And I want you to think about like animals that people use to help find missing people.
Oh yeah.
Do they put a cat on a leash or what do they do? Think about it a little bit more.
Well, a cat on a leash is just crazy.
Thumbs up for dogs, heart for cats.
Oh yeah, let's get that. That'll be a fun interaction.
That. So you can thumb up for dog.
Thumbs up for dogs.
And you can send a heart if you think it's a cat. You know, cats are like famous for their videos. I don't know why we don't have as many dog videos. Cats are awesome. I'm a cat person, by the way. Mr. E is too. Do you know that Mr. E is a cat whisperer?
No.
He really is. He has special skills. No. I don't know what, but he does. Maybe you were a cat before.
Maybe past life.
I think so.
Past life. It's all the barn cats that I chased around at my grandma's
Timothy's
barn.
never seen a drug enforcement cat. I haven't either. Let's see, except I've seen them doing some catnip though. That's all I've seen. All right, looks like we have dogs are pulling in close. It's 7 to 8, maybe that's not being counted anymore. Oh, I already got 9. People are changing their minds about dogs and cats.
We knew this all along.
Morphology now. Morphology. Who has a longer snout?
Yeah.
Who has, because the longer snout, the more cells in there, the more you can pick up those parts per million of the molecules of the scent that are floating around in the air. So I'm gonna let you guys keep thinking about that. Dogs are pulling ahead. Cats are coming back.
It's really interesting to think too about kind of how smells work for us, because we think about smells and we think about food mostly. But when they think about smells, they're thinking a lot about predation. They're thinking about predators. They're thinking about even prey item in the area
with
and communication with each other. So there's lots more that they do than what we do with their smell. So they have to be very, very accurate with how they're thinking about the world.
Let's talk about scent marking.
Yeah, okay.
So how different ways can you scent mark if you're a cat?
So scent marking for cats happens on both ends, I should say. It happens in the face. They have glands that release oil that they can rub on surfaces that will allow a close by individual to smell them. It's also kind of a familial thing, so mothers will do this to their young will do it back to their mothers, so they have that scent on them so they can smell each other and find each other. If, say, they're hiding in some place and they don't know that it's their mom creeping up on them instead of a predator, they smell them, they'll get calmed down, come out and see them. Mainly, though, what the scent marking that we see and that we recognize mostly in bobcats is their spraying. And so you might have heard this happen with adult cats as well, especially if they haven't been fixed and they're a male. They're going to spray to mark territory. And this marking behavior has a lot to do with them getting a mark that's in a predominantly exposed place where that smell can move around a lot. And so anything that comes up knows, oh, this is a territory of something. Most of the time, if they're not a dominant animal, they're going to pee in a water source. And that water source will wash away that smell that we talked about. Then they can kind of go incognito a little bit. So really cool how they mark their scent. They'll also mark with their claws sometimes too, which is really cool. They'll scratch on surfaces and then they'll mark that area. They sometimes will mark with their poop. They'll defecate in areas that are exposed, so that's visible too. But a lot of times they're going to bury, just like a normal house cat will. They'll bury their scat. So.
Hi, Missy. Why aren't you here today helping us? That's all right. You sent your better half.
Dogs definitely won.
Dogs won. Coral. Dogs have a longer snout.
Dogs have a much longer snout.
Well, at least as far as we know right now. You know, we aren't really cats or dogs.
Yeah, I mean, we can't ask them question, but we know that they have more of the thing that allows them to smell, and in testing we've seen that dogs have a much better sense of smell than most cats, unless you're talking about like pugs or bulldogs or things like that we've changed their face. So think about their morphology. We've turned their snout into a flat little snout. No ability to get that long snout to pull all that oxygen in with all the parts per million of scent little molecules in the air.
Lucy has a great question. What can we do to help them in the wild?
I think the best thing that I hear about animals with large territory needs is to give them ability or access to tracts of land that are connected without development in between, and then also allow them to have areas where they can cross roadways safely. So this might come in the form of tubes or overpasses, but there's not a lot we can do other than that.
Well, we can draw a connection between, since Earth Day is coming up, April 22nd, reduce, reuse, recycle, rot, and especially like reusing clothing, like instead of going out and buying brand new clothing all the time, because then you're going to have more stores, and if you have more stores, they're going to develop more. If they're going to develop more, we're going to take away habitat from animals. So you can become a person that likes to support reuse, like Goodwills or reuse stores.
Just being more environmentally friendly is like probably the number one way. Michelle and I, it comes natural to us to think about this because we've been learning it forever, but habitat destruction is the number one reason why the population of wild animals of all kinds is decreasing. So habitat destruction in the form of development, but also habitat destruction for getting resources to build things and to make things. So if we can cut down our resource intake and reuse things, then that actually helps animals a lot.
Give us a heart if you want to help reuse, reduce, reuse, recycle,
and
rot.
Rot's an R that gets
that means compost your food. Don't throw it in the trash. So give us a heart if you're interested in helping out our animals. Ansley's here in Florida. She in Florida? Awesome, Ansley. Thanks for joining us today.
How do they stay cool in summer? Well, they get a bathtub, and they've got a bathtub now since the temps were going up in the back. They've got a bathtub that they can go in.
Is that Teal?
They'll also get no, that's Odie.
Hi, Odie.
They'll also get frozen treats, so they'll get popsicles if it's just really hot. But in the wild, a lot of times they're going to cool down just by finding shade, finding a nice cool spot near the ground. The ground is always cooler, right? If they want to, they might even get wet to cool down. And then they do a little bit of pantsing, but not really. That's kind of a really rare. If they were overheated because they were maybe out hunting or something, they might pant to cool their body down that way. But most of the time, they're just going to find a nice shady spot and hang out.
What a sweet little kitty you are.
Yeah.
Meow, meow, meow.
They're so regal.
Meow, meow. Meow, meow. 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 Can you say hello to everybody out there? Meow, meow. Say hello. Say we miss you.
He's like, what are you doing?
We miss you. Meow, meow.
If you can see his tail twitching, that's another way that they communicate. He's communicating, ooh, I'm a little excited.
If you're happy and you know, wag your tail.
There you go.
Meow, meow.
We do want to remind all of you, if you have friends that aren't able to watch us live, that we can be seen on Facebook through the Friends of Oatland Island page. We also have our Oatland YouTube up, where you can always go and see videos there. We also have the Comcast station, that SCC PSS channel 195 will be hosting some of our videos soon.
Yes.
So Comcast channel 195, my Uncle Timmy is just tuned in, said hi, EGS, eggs, as they like to call me. So good to see you, Tim, or hear from you. I don't guess I'm not seeing you. But really, really, really cool that you guys got to visit us today, and we're so happy to do this for you, and we want to continue doing this. So if you've got topics, or if you've got an animal that you want to see, let us know in the comments. We will try our best to feature that animal, or maybe even just that topic. We think about lots of different topics we can do.
You know, Eric, it would be a real catastrophe if we didn't have this program. I'm so
No,
glad
I have to
we
think of
them.
one off the top of my head.
Oh.
Well, at least we're here, right? Meow.
Oh, awesome. Send us your puns, your cat puns.
Cat puns are great.
Yay.
Did I tell my joke yet? The cat joke that I love so much?
No, tell us your
Okay,
cat joke.
English lesson for today. How is a cat like a compound sentence? How, Michelle? Tell them. You know the punchline.
No, you tell it.
Okay, so one has claws at the end of its paws, and one has paws at the end of its claws.
That's going to be heard a lot
I know.
in FOOVentures, isn't it?
But it's important.
It's a good one. It's a very good one.
Use your semicolons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, we used to have so many meows, puns. Can't think of any right
I'm
now.
like blanking. It's all the pressure.
Yes. We should have been thinking about it in advance.
Cool.
It's like you guys have been thinking about joining us. We're so glad. Thank you for joining us in
next
FOOVentures.
next FOOVenture Wednesday next week, and we'll feature whatever you guys vote the most for, as long as weather permits. So
Let's give you some ideas. We got our bison
would
our
be great to
white-tailed
do.
deer.
We got the deer.
We got all the animals in the barn.
We got all barnyard animals.
We're gonna try to
except
save-
for the bunnies.
Oh yeah, we done them.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to save the building animals for rainy days.
Yep.
But we have all kinds of animals inside our collection to look at there.
We have some raptors to feature if you guys
Yeah.
want to think about them. Maybe want to see another raptor other than our owls that we already featured.
Yep. And the eagles. We've seen the eagles.
And the eagles. And then we do kind of have
Fox.
like other topics that might be more walk and talk kind of thing. We could walk around and talk about trees. We could walk around and talk about fungi. We could walk around and talk about the interesting things that can be found underneath a rotting log. I mean, Michelle and I love just rolling over logs and seeing what's
rolling.
Yeah, decomposition that's going on. So
Yeah.
lots of cool.
We can make
we could make
enrichments.
enrichments with you guys and talk about all the different factors that go into that. We could even do an enrichment that you could do for your dog or cat at home. So
Yeah.
lots of cool things we can do in that regard too. So we hope you tune in next week. We hope that you share this with everyone. We're so happy that you love Oatland and you love it enough to tune in to see us, even though you can't be here during this crazy, crazy time.
Have a great weekend and
Yep.
stay safe.
Yep, stay safe, guys.